Welcome back to Eurosport's Triathlon special. We've just seen highlights of the 1994 World Long Distance Championships from Nice. Now we're going to have a look at highlights of this year's Long Distance Championships for Europe. The European Championships Long Distance from Yuma in Friesland in northern Germany. This is the great holiday destination resort for the Germans and many in Europe. It does have a lot of unique attributes. And we can see one of them here. It's the only hand-towed ferry in Europe. The long distance championships for the Europe are held over what's known as the Ironman distance. That's the 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometers on the bike, and finally 42.2 kilometers to finish. So the run, or the bike should I say, is a little longer than the Nice long distance world championships. The swim is a little shorter, and the run is a little longer. But here we are in Yuma, the region of Yuma in Friesland in northern Germany. Many said that the field was a little weak this year. We had something like 200 athletes in the main event. There was also a fun event, if you can have a fun event over this distance. Men and women started together on the left of our picture, or the right of our picture here. This is the men's start. Green hat, Olaf Sebastius, early favourite, but he only lasted 200 metres with a sinus problem. No hat, well that's Dr. Jules Jenkinson from Great Britain with the yellow goggles. The far side of the river Yuma, the women, you can just see the lane boy separating the men and the women for the first 150 metres or so. Good idea, certainly worked well here. Certainly for television, it's much better for us. It's much easier to cover if the men and the women go off together, and that's what they did here in the river Yuma. So it's an opening 3.8 kilometer swim. We've gone metric, so I better stick to that for those of you who haven't. That's 2.4 miles. And another early morning start, but ideal conditions in the river Yuma. In fact, they blocked the river Yuma off to stop. They're actually swimming up the river, but they blocked it off some 15 hours before the start. And that allowed the river to calm down. And in fact, as I understand it, there was a slight advantage as the river backed up. But our early leader, for the first and only time I've ever known in the sport of triathlon over this distance, was the German woman, Ute Muckel. She took the men on, and she certainly did the business. Britain's Martin Foster went with her, but it's Ute Muckel with a blue hat right beside her. Martin Foster. Also in there is Tobias Schumacher, the Swiss, Ingo Franzke, the German, the Belgian Dirk van Gossem, and another Brit, Tim Stewart. But this is Muckel, the teacher, the swimmer, showing the men how to do it. What a performance by this German teacher, the German team. Very strong German team here, competed at Yuma. Along with Ute Muckel, there was Heike Feckmeyer. She's back in second place. In fact, this is Ada van Zwieten in the purple hat. Just as far as picture, that's Britain's Shirley Yard. I'm not sure whether she's lost her goggles. She certainly doesn't have them on at the moment. But this is the teacher. This is Muckel, demonstrating how good, how strong she is at swimming. Beautiful style, beautiful stroke. This is Martin Foster, much more choppy style. In fact, in some ways, if he had a bit more upper body weight, I suppose he'd be very similar to old Spencer Smith. A bit similar type style, should I say. Well, he smiles as well. But Ute Muckel now, she's set the pace, and as you'll see, as the camera pulls out, she built up a fair old lead over the men, and well, they've always said there's total equality in the sport of triathlon, and she's showing why not. Ute Muckel normally comes out, well, she was second out of the water with Greg Welch earlier this year at Ironman Germany, which Jürgen Zach won. She's been first out of the water on numerous occasions with Wendy Ingham at the Hawaii Ironman. She's been first out of the water in many long distance races, and indeed shorter distance races. She's most probably, certainly the best European swimmer. And I would think her and Wendy Ingham are the best two triathlete swimmers in the world. Got to be careful what I say here, but I think she is. So this is Ute Muckel, first out of the water, in an incredible 45 minutes and 38 seconds. So I think she did get a little assistance from the back water. Second place, Martin Foster, first man though. 46 minutes and 51 seconds was his time. So what? Muckle are just, what, 1 minute and 20 seconds over the men at this stage of the proceedings. So that's the 3.8 kilometre swim out the way, 2.4 miles. Now 180 kilometres of biking, 112 miles. So it's Muckle. She's got the helmet on. She's got the bike shoes on. She's gone to pick up a bike as the lead man. Well, he's not even in the transition yet. He's just coming in. He's got to find his kit now, has his change as Muckle goes on her merry way. Great performance. 45 minutes and 38 seconds for Muckle's swim. So Foster changes as the pack. They're coming out of the water now. This is the main pack, which includes, in fact, the second woman there in blue is right on the end. That's Heike Feckmeier, another German. So Germany 1 and 2 in the women's division. And in fact, Ines Ested is down in third position. Ingo Fransky was second out in 47.14 for the Germans. Tobias Schumacher, 47.17. This is Muckle going on her merry way. The Belgian Dirk van Gossem was fourth out of the water, 47 minutes and 20 seconds. And Britain's Tim Stewart, who in fact took the lead early on the bike, was out in 47 minutes and 25 seconds. A mere, what, 34 seconds or so behind the leader, Martin Foster, also of Great Britain. This is Tobias Schumacher. He's in about fourth position here, going past our early swim leader. That's Martin Foster going backwards. Well, he's not going backwards. Tobias Schumacher here. But I was speaking to him, I remember, just before the race, and he said he'd set his goal on this event. That's Ingo Fransky on the right with Dirk van Gossem, with Tim Stewart, Dr. Tim Stewart. In fact, like Simon Lessing, he comes from South Africa, but he is British by origin, so he's representing Great Britain. That's good to see. Matthias Klump, he was something like 8th out of the water. He's certainly a man on a mission at this stage. He just goes past the women's leader, Uka Muckle. Heike Feckmeier was out in 47.28 for the women. Ines Ested, Germany, made it 1-2-3 for Germans. 50.32 with Marja Ziekant from Holland and Barbara Zieb, also from Holland, in 4th and 5th positions. But Tim Stewart, well, he had it all his own way on the early part of the bike course. This is the first two women, and it looks as though Muckle's got the company, and the company is Heike Feckmeier. One of the few races in the sport, they've actually closed the highway. This is the main highway up to Ostfriesland, or Friesland for the summer visitors. So it's very important to the Germans, and they've actually closed down about 23 kilometers or so. So there is a 22.5 kilometer loop, making 45 kilometers in all, and they do it 4 times. But Stewart, it wasn't long before he was joined by Ingo Fransky and a few of the others. And in fact, unfortunately for Stewart, he had to make a bit of a pit stop, which cost him something like 30 seconds, but he still had a great race here. This, in fact, was the first long-distance Ironman distance event for Tim Stewart. He's done very well over the middle distance. Was second or third, I remember, in the British Championships early in the year, and decided to give this distance a go. But Fransky, well, he led early on the first lap as they're coming back towards the end of the turn, with Van Gossem and in fact Julian Jenkinson also joined that chase pack on the men. But for the women, it was disaster for Heike Feckmeier. That's his Uda Muckle taking the lead as Feckmeier now. She's got a puncher, a real wheel puncher, which is not the best of wheels, the easiest wheel to change, but as we all know, there's no outside assistance in triathlon, so Feckmeier has to change it herself, and she has a problem in that her tub is stuck on too tight and she can't get it off. She loses a huge amount of time here, in fact so much time eventually she retires from the race. Her mate's just up the road, Andreas, and of course he's not allowed to help her, so she has to do it herself. But this is the huge pack at the front of the field at the moment. It's Fransky, Stewart, Van Gossem, and it looks like the Belgian is also there. Jan Yamar, that's him on the back end, number 91. Uta Muckle after lap 1, she was leading, and behind her another German, Ines Estet, and also Ada van Zwijten from Holland. She was also in contention early on the bike. That's his Muckle though, going on her merry way, starting lap 2 of 4. This is the German, former East German, Ines Estet, former, in fact, international race walker. She's now in the German army, full-time athlete. Just been told that she's in second position behind Uka Muckle. So Germany 1, 2, and in third position, the Dutch woman, Ada van Zwijten here, number 12. Sounds right, and seems to have been round an age, as a lot of these Dutch women have, with Katinka Wiltenberg. Terze Belsen seemed around an age before she retired and went on a specialist orthopedic surgeon course. She's a doctor. This is Dr. Julian Jenkinson. He's in that chase pack. This is Matthias Klump. He's also there, as is Ralf Lautenbacher, another German, and Van Gossem. And, well, down the road, the Luxembourg rider, Dan Dettier, he's got away with Jan Yamar. They've got away a little bit from these two. This is Ralf Lautenbacher, the German. He's in that pack with Julian Jenkinson and Ingo Fransky. Matthias Klump, this is Fransky. So 4 laps, they're coming up the end of lap 2 as Ingo Fransky heads back towards the turn. We'll let them go on their way, then come back for the closing stages, the finish of these European Championships before highlights of today's World Championships long distance at Nice. Welcome back to the triathlon special here on Eurosport. We're in our second race of 3. This is the highlights of this year's European Championships over the long distance from Yuma up in Friesland in North Germany. This is Dr. Julian Jenkinson of Great Britain. He's just catching up Ingo Fransky. He's just passed Dirk van Gossen of Belgium. They're back in the chase pack. Down the road a little way is Jan Yamar of Belgium. This is, in fact, Ingo Fransky in 3rd position. This is Jan Yamar. He's in 2nd position. And surprisingly, a virtual unknown, Dan Dettier of Luxembourg. He took the lead on lap 3. And it was quite a while before they caught him. They didn't catch him until the final lap. So this is Dan Dettier, the man from that little country of Luxembourg. Not sure where he came from, but he's certainly leading at the moment. In the women's division, it was still the German teacher, Uke Muckel, had that great swim, remember, led the whole field out of the water, men and women, after they started together on the opening 3.8-kilometer swim in the River Yuma. She had some company early on by Hecke Feckmeyer, but unfortunately Feckmeyer punctured. In 2nd place, it's Ines Estep, the former East German walker, now resident German Army, full-time. In fact, I think she finished 2nd in the World Military Championships in Rome just a few weeks ago. I know she said after this race she was going to go there and race, and then race the World Long Distance Championships. But they've just caught. It looks as though they've caught Dan Dettier. He's just in front here, the Luxembourg. This is Jules Jenkinson saying, hey, I've done my work. About time you guys, I've dragged him back. About time you boys did some work. So this is Dirk van Gossen of Belgium going through. Dettier just up the road a few meters. And he's going to be swallowed up by this pack of Van Gossen, Jenkinson, and also in there, I think, is Ingo Fransky. But still down the road is the Belgian Jan Yamar. That's Dettier now, moving back through the field, and I think that's history for the Luxembourg athlete. He's shot his boat, as they say. So here we go. Looks like Ingo Fransky is coming up through here to do a bit of the business as well. In fact, it's not Ingo Fransky, it's Ralf Lautenbacher. Fransky's just off the back end. So it's Lautenbacher, Jenkinson in 3rd and 4th position. 2nd place is Dirk van Gossen, and up front it's still the Belgian Jan Yamar. There we are. That's history for Dan Dettier. Jenkinson moves past him. And I think that's the last we'll see of him. But this is our leader coming up towards the end of the 4th lap of this 180-kilometer, 112 miles of biking. It's the Belgian rider, Jan Yamar. Good performance by Jan Yamar. He's been there or thereabouts for many years, but he's certainly showing some form here. As our chase pack headed by Julian Jenkinson in the centre of the picture, that's Dirk van Gossen on the right. I think he's trying to take out the camera. He's pretty close. Right behind him is Ralf Lautenbacher, and behind them Ingo Fransky. This is our woman, and it looks as though Muckel has been passed by Katja Meyer. Katja Meyer, another German, very strong German quartet here. Unfortunately for Feckmeyer, she had to retire, but that doesn't seem to make any difference for the Germans. So it's Germany 1, 2 and 3 in the women's division, and Belgium in the form. Jan Yamar first for the men. He's off his bike. Total race time 5 hours 20 minutes and 34 seconds. Something like a 4 hour 40 bike split. Let's virtually ideal conditions at the moment, so they're certainly on very fast times. Chase pack. That looks like Van Gossem coming in. This is Ingo Franski. Sorry, Ralph Lautenberger, should I say, 141. And Julian Jenkinson behind him. As Nyanyamar gets on his legs. Now it's the final marathon, 42.2 kilometers, 26.2 miles of running to finish. Two-lapper, well, it's out and back, out and back, out and back, out and back. It is actually two-lappers. As Katchamaya comes off the bike first, 5 hours, 52 minutes and 13 seconds for her. And only 7 seconds behind was Uta Mukul, the swim specialist, swim bike specialist. 5 hours, 52 minutes and 20 seconds. Here she is, Uta Mukul, as Katchamaya. She has a quick change, gets that number on. It's going to be on the front for the run, back for the bike. Just doing it up, dragging him in the right position, and chased very closely by Uta Mukul. Certainly Mukul is, she's starting to look like a runner now. She's not just a great swimmer and biker. Ines Eshtet is in 3rd position. In fact, she's in 4th position, just in front of her, Ada van Zwijten. We missed her there. And in 5th position was Marja Ziekamp from Holland. She's something like 5 minutes adrift of the leaders. But it wasn't long before Jan Jamar was passed by Loudenbecker and Van Gossem. There's Jamar in 3rd position. So I think he pushed it too hard on the bike, and he's history. Matthias Klump, though, he's the man on the mission here. He moved through to 6th position off the bike, and now he's moved through. He's now into 4th position on the run. And meanwhile, his compatriot, Uta Mukul, she now leads the women's division with Katchamaya back in 2nd place. And you can see the weather's warming up. Ideal for the swim and the bike, but it's warming up a little bit for the run, but not too bad. It's in about 30 degrees centigrade. Katchamaya now in 2nd position with Ines Eshtet. She's now moved into 3rd position in front of Ada van Zwijten. But here we are. This is our men's leader. It's Ralph Loudenbecker, and you can see Van Gossem has company. The company is in the form of Matthias Klump, the German. So in a minute, it's going to be Germany 1 and 2. Just see Julian Jenkinson back at the back end there, having a great race. He's well inside the British record, and in fact, he smashes the British record by something like 25 minutes. He goes 8:15 here. But it's Matthias Klump 2nd, Lautenbecker, Ralph Lautenbecker, 1st and 2nd for the Germans in the men's race. And the women's division, Uta Mukul is 1st at the moment, but she's also got the company, and it's Ines Eshtet coming up onto her shoulder. Germany 1 and 2, and they're just going to change positions. They're coming up towards the end of the first lap for the women. And Eshtet now goes into 1st position. So this is a good performance by Ines Eshtet over the better-known long-distance specialist from Germany, Uta Mukul. This is a name to look out for in the future, Ines Eshtet. She's not young, though. She's 28, 29, been around quite a while, but of course this is her 2nd international sport, international race walker, now an international triathlete. I was speaking to her why triathlon, and she said, well, it's something different, isn't it? I've always liked swimming and biking, and I didn't think she was a race walker, would she? She doesn't have the race walking style. But for the men, another 2 Germans, it was Matthias Klump and Ralph Lautenbecker went together for about 15 to 20 kilometers. They were locked together in battle as Ines Eshtet got away from Uta Mukul on the 2nd lap of 2, making up the 42.2 kilometers final run. That's Eshtet now. And for the men, it was Matthias Klump coming up towards the final turn before he heads back towards home. Matthias Klump 1st, and Ralph Lautenbecker for Germany 2nd. So Germany 1 and 2 in both the men's and women's divisions at the moment. This is Klump going through, because he had that great, 12, 13 position in Hawaii last year, so he's no stranger to this distance. Finished, I think his best position is 6th at Roth. PB of 8:30-ish, so he's going to be well inside that today. But this is Ines Eshtet, and she is going to, well, she's going blasting for records here. She is going to smash the European record, and she could join, or in fact she does join, that elusive club, exclusive club of women to break 9 hours. But for the men, it was Matthias Klump, and he was a pretty happy soldier, was Matthias Klump. He comes home, and his time, well, that puts him in the top 10 all-time fastest for the Ironman distance. People will question the course. It's been remeasured since this event, and in fact it was in the legal limits. It was something like 200 meters short on the run, so it's in the allowable limits of variance for a course. So Matthias Klump, 8 hours, 6 minutes and 5 seconds. I think that's the 8th and 9th fastest best time in the world ever for the Ironman distance. Second place, Dirk van Gossem. He cruised past Loudenbecker towards the end, 8 hours, 9 minutes and 48 seconds. And in third position, another German, Lautenbecker, in 8 hours, 13 minutes and 33 seconds. And in fact, the Germans, they took the men's team gold medal for the long distance championship. That's Matthias Klump, the new European long distance champion. And for the women, it was another German, this time Ines Estedt. And what a time, 8 hours, 56 minutes and 5 seconds, the fourth fastest all time, and only one of 3 people to get under the 9-hour barrier for triathlon for the women. What a performance by Estedt. Una Mukkel, well, she was home in second in 9 hours and 9 minutes and 25 seconds, and Ada van Zwieten was third, 9 hours, 10 minutes and 36 seconds. And the Germans, like the German men, the German women took the German team prize in the women's division. So there we are, Matthias Klump for the men and Ines Estedt for the women. This is Ada van Zwieten coming home in third position, so it's a good performance by the Dutch woman. She looks pretty pleased. So there we have it. That's our second race out the way. That's the European Championships. And coming up, Simon Lessing and the Nice Triathlon.